Good morning. This is Ed in San Diego. As you can see, it's beautiful place, 92101, along the Pacific Ocean, most southern California, uh, just a few miles, 8 to 10 miles south of here, where I'm sitting, is Mexico, Tijuana, Baja. So it's an international meeting place, that's for sure. So in just a few minutes, our program will feature a cool guy that I've met along the way, has been on our global TV talk show many times in years past. Uh, he's involved in alternative education, private education, rather than public. Chase Eskelsen is Master of Education. I'm going to read this here. He's owner and founder. He says he helps K through 16 education business owners in their first 3 years of operation build, scale, and expand their education business. The company, based in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Fersken, Fersken, Fersken Education, LLC. So this is going to be an interesting talk. We're going to learn about micro schools. What is that? How is it different? How does it teach? How does it help parents? How does it help the kids progress? Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Year, out of FerskenEd, we birthed our first micro school, which it is its own separate 501c3, but it is a micro school in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Yeah. Well, good. So we are recording this thing, as you can see, the AI note-taking, and I thought I had pressed the button earlier, but I just pressed it again. So some of this is going to record nicely, and others will just throw out, I guess. But and then do it again for real. But so the micro schools now, they I want you to describe for the audience. It's a partnership with the parents.
It is. The way that we look at it is the parents are the sole responsibility for that child, right? They're the first and best teacher that child will ever have. And we look at it, and many micro schools look at the relationship with the parent as a partnership. We're going to do some, you're going to do some, but you as a parent are the ultimate authority. So instead of looking at us as a school to kind of drop your kid off and then come pick them up at the end of the day, no, we don't want that. We want you to look at us as a micro school as a tool in your tool belt, right? We can make it as easy as possible. We can pull together curriculum, content, opportunities, activities, all these things. But at the end of the day, we view ourselves as that tool in your tool belt to make you as a parent successful.
So do you give counseling or tips I know you have to be careful, uh, tips to the parents about what to do? What are the kids learning that week? And how the parents could better understand, comprehend what the school's intent is and how they can enhance the education experience after school.
Yeah. So again, each one looks a little different. And I'm probably going to say that 10 more times because it's just so wildly different. For us, we absolutely do parent training because we are the tool that brings together the learning management system. We are the one that's bringing the content and curriculum. And so we want to make sure that the parent understands how to use these tools effectively and not get frustrated with them. But how we operate is pretty unique. We have a digital spine. That's what we call it, the digital spine, right? And I can see you on the screen. And I know you have a spine, not because I can see your spine, but because everything is aligned. I can tell that, right? For us, the digital curriculum is our spine. We have this digital spine. Hopefully, we don't see it. That's not the goal. I don't want kids behind a computer for 6-8 hours a day. Instead, it's a spine where we come, log on, look at, oh, that's what I need to do today. Okay, now push the computer aside and get to your fingers dirty doing some learning. And we want the parents to know how to use this spine so that they can check in on what are the kids learning today? How do I reinforce this learning? And how do I help, especially those younger kids, right? They need a little more help than the older kids because they're still learning to read and they still need help clicking through some things. And so we want to make sure that they're as supported and ready as possible. So with that, anytime a parent has a question, we have someone on standby that they can shoot an email off to, they can jump in a Zoom room, chat through it with a teacher. But yeah, I think that that's such an important part, is making the parent successful will help that child to be successful.
Now, you mentioned that you are all over the place, all over the country, advising, being a consultant to other school owners.
Yeah, yeah. So we do a couple different things. We work with other schools and companies, like education management organizations and things like that, where we do help them and give them advice and guidance. But I really have a desire to help micro school founders specifically get their micro schools up and off the ground all over the nation. And I know you've had Tamara Becker on the program at least once or twice in the past. She's got 2 micro schools in the greater Phoenix area. And we actually do have an education entrepreneurship mastermind specifically focused on helping small businesses, micro schools, get up and off the ground and help the next generation with a really unique type of learning.
Now, the owners of this and managers of these various independent micro schools here and there, do they have a similar or better record of kids progressing better uh, because of the nature of the care?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I've got some stats I'm going to show here if I can figure out how to get my screen to share. There's just several pieces of this puzzle that I think help tell the story. So if it's okay,
Yeah, my
I am
screen share
going
is
to.
open for you, but you have to do it. I don't have the skills to do it.
All right, can you see
Uh,
that screen there?
yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, if you can make
All right,
make the scene a little bit larger so the type is larger, that would be
let's
good.
see if I can figure out how to do that.
Okay, perfect. That's it.
Yeah, so micro schools are super unique. You can see here, these are the types of facilities that they're meeting in. And a lot of people think, oh, well, it's inside someone's house. And there are some micro schools that are in someone's house. So you can see if a person lives there, it's only 17% of the time. If it's a home but not a residence, 7% of the time. Well, that's only a quarter of all micro schools are in a house, which means that they're meeting somewhere else. And you can see that about 40% are meeting in some type of nonprofit or commercial space. And we have both of our campuses. We got 2 campuses in DFW, one in Frisco, one in Southlake. They both meet in the commercial business space. But then you've got a donated space or employer owned. And these are oftentimes someone who owns a business and they have unused square footage. And so they'll have a small micro school in that unused square footage. And then some type of a house of worship. We've seen them in churches, synagogues, all kinds of different things. But they meet at a church or something like that. And then you can see that weird little 4% over there is government controlled space. And a lot of times these are public micro schools. And that was one of the questions we talked about earlier on. Are they private or are they public? Well, micro schools can be both, but the vast majority of them are privately owned.
Fascinating
So
stuff.
that's,
Thank you very much for doing that. I wanted to
yeah.
just bring back something from history, our history together. Um, a few years ago when we were doing that long series of broadcasts, uh, I brought up the idea of moving into empty office buildings with the help of the employer. I saw that was one of your
Mm-hmm.
categories there, so that rang the bell. That
Yeah.
okay, so I'm going to bring back this idea. that employers need to get women back into coming into the office. And so, but they've gotten used to being at home, homeschooling almost, um, or being close to the kid. So here's a way for the employer to attract women into the office, an elevator ride away from uh, checking in on the kids and then going home together at 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. or whatever. Uh, it, so that there's a modern, cutting edge way to solve the problem of empty space or unused space, just like I saw in that chart you had, and women in the office some of the time in a hybrid, perhaps you and customer service approach to employee care
Hmm.
and then kid learning and getting the kid there. Maybe the kid comes in with mom and pop in the car and then dropped off at floor 3 instead of, and they go up to 15 or something. Um, and then they go
Yeah.
home together.
Right. So I remember that conversation well, and I took it to heart. And this was back during COVID when there was just a ton of available space. And we actually went and talked to a lot of different players in the Dallas Fort Worth area and said, hey, here's what we'd like to do. Number one, we would like to be an HR benefit to you. We will start a school in your buildings for your family students. No takers, Ed.
Oh,
And it all came down to insurance. They were afraid of the liability of kids in their building. And we said, we tried it 100 different ways. Hey, we'll sublease this space. It'll be completely off. We'll have our own certificate of occupancy and insurance and all these different things. Nothing. So I think it's a great idea. If there's someone out there listening and you want to have a really cool HR benefit, call us at FerskenEd and we will make that dream a reality.
what's your phone number?
Hey, that's a good question. Can I give my phone number?
Yeah, you
All
can
right.
even
I got to look
show
it up
it.
though, because I never call. Yeah. Here, I'll do that. Here, let me show it and I'll read it
And,
out.
yeah,
Uh,
and show your logo.
yeah, there we go. You can see our logo. There's a picture of me speaking to a group at the Oklahoma Ministry Center. Our phone number is right here, 682-292-8709. And our website is FerskenEd.com. FerskenEd.com. And
Got
we
it.
would love to talk to you about something like that. That'd be great.
Great. All right. So we have about 9 or 10 minutes remaining in this first go around. And I thank you very much for this information. So you mentioned in the email earlier that you're in Utah today.
I am. Yeah. It's not hot here like it is in Texas, so I'll take it. The mountains are beautiful.
Now you have family in that area, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I grew up about 20-ish minutes north of Salt Lake City. Now live in DFW, but I try to get out of Texas in August and September. So
Yeah, I don't blame you.
yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, Joanne and I got a house in Palm Desert, which is about a three and a
Mhm.
half hour drive north of here and about 100 miles east of LA. And so it's in the low desert, which means that yesterday it was 109, high temperature. And it's just now coming into the August, of course, and the winds shift. Um, so rather than dry air, it becomes soaked from Mexican humidity. And the part of
Mm.
Mexico where the winds are coming from is the Gulf of Mexico, now called Gulf of America. But anyway, it's down there. So the Coachella Valley, which is between two mountain ranges, and as I
Yeah.
mentioned, lower desert, brings in all this humidity, and it can't go anywhere because of the high mountains all around Palm Desert, Palm Springs. And so not only does the temperature hover around 109, even 112, but the humidity now goes up. So that's a good place to stay away from at this time of year. And
Ah, I
all
believe
of
it.
all of the renters for the property stay away too, unfortunately. But we make up for that in
Yeah.
from October 15 to about June 1.
Yep, exactly.
So it's a great world we're in. So I'm really super interested to have you come back and have a series of broadcasts, one a week, one every 2 weeks, on topics related to microschools and the new way, the better way to educate kids, but not just young kids, but what, high school,
Yeah, K through 12, K through 12. And in fact, Ed, can I wet the people's whistle? I've got one more graph to show. And I
please.
think this is a really interesting thing because what you hear a lot of times, specifically from the district opponents, is the micro schools are stealing all of our best kids and they're stealing all of the rich kids and they're stealing all of this and that, right? Well, this is one chart, and this is done by a group called the National Microschooling Center. They're out of Las Vegas, and they did a lot of research here. And you can see that half of all kids who come to micro schools are at the average income. They're not the rich kids. They're not necessarily the best kids, right? They're just the average income, average families, and that's at 50%. Then if you look at the slightly below and significantly below the average income, man, we're at 40%, roughly, right? 39%, whatever. And those are people who are below average income levels. So the thing that people say, oh, the micro schools are stealing all these rich best kids, which you can't really align those two things. There's so many different variables in life, but only 12% of all students in micro schools are coming from those high income households, which is really interesting. It's not what you'd expect.
Right. Let me ask you two questions. One, about physical ed. Does a micro school offer phys ed sports? And the next
Yeah,
question is, do you offer some kind of educational scholarship?
good. Both questions are great questions. So, what I have found across not just our micro school, but micro schools, not always, but generally, right? There's a lot of students who are high performing athletes, specifically from club sports. They love this model, and I'll say our family benefits from this model, and we're that family because I've got 3 kids, and all 3 of my kids play ice hockey. 2 of them play competitive ice hockey, which means we're out of town a lot at hockey tournaments. This model works perfectly because we never have in-person school on Friday. We meet Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, which means Wednesday and Friday are remote. Now, when we travel, instead of my kids getting an absence, they take their computer and they take their schoolwork and they do it on the road on the way to a tournament. What we found is high performing athletes and then performers, whether that's musicians or artists or actors, they're really drawn to this type of model. With that said, our school does have a PE course, but if you're in a high performance sport or dance or something like that, you can use that as your credit for that. Now, there's a list of things you've got to make sure that you're meeting in order to get that. But if you're not involved in a high functioning sport with lots of training and things like that, then you would take our PE course. Some of that work would be done on site. Some of that work would be done remotely. Then the follow-up question that you asked was tuition assistance, right? These are tuition-based schools, and so that means the family has to pay for their student to come. And yes, absolutely, we offer tuition assistance. We have great folks who are donors. If you'd like to donate to the cause, we'd love to be able to put more dollars into that. Not you, Ed, but anyone listening, I guess you too, if you really want to, but we have donors that help provide tuition assistance. And then we actually have what we call our Kingdom Fund, and it's how we build the Paragon Ed Kingdom and beyond. And so some of all tuition dollars that go into that fund to help families who couldn't afford it have that tuition assistance. And so absolutely yes.
Fascinating stuff. I also want to drop this that my grandson, James, is 12 and is living
Okay.
in Pittsburgh. And he is into hockey, ice hockey. He started when he
Oh,
was like
cool.
much younger. He's now 12 and he's a terrific skater. And So I get it. I understand that. They recently drove from Pittsburgh up to Detroit and then over to Long Island, New York, Long Island, to attend these kids playing in tournaments.
Yeah. Oh, it's wild. It's wild to me that they have 10-year-olds traveling that much for a sport. When I was 10, the farthest we would go was like the next town over, you know?
I was watching cowboy movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well, you
playing
should have
down
him
the
look into a
park,
micro
you know.
school.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, definitely the
You
park.
know, I
Definitely the
think that I'm going to talk to Jeff and Fair, the parents, about what school they're in. I think he is in some kind of a private school, but I'm not sure. He was in a charter school, uh,
park. Okay.
and they spoke French. He's fluent in
Oh,
French. So
dual immersion. Very cool.
yeah, yeah, well, yeah, his mother is very highly educated, PhD, and an ordained uh, Presbyterian minister. And she started speaking French to James when he was in the cradle.
How cool. I love that.
Yeah, and so, and dad is Jeff, um, loves to ice skate also, and so he's very much into that. Oh, it's
I
just
love
a
it.
wonderful experience. We have to let you go because you have another obligation, but I'll follow up with you in writing with the proposal. Thank you for
Awesome.
this.
That sounds good. Yeah. And
I'll
thank you.
send
I
you this.
always enjoy it.
Thank you. Me too. Love what you do, and I love your energy and your fresh approach. And I want to be a part of it. And this will be really good TV, which makes a good marketing thing.
Awesome.
Cheers. I'm going to send you this
Thank
program
you.
later today.
Awesome. Thanks, Ed. We'll see you.
Thank you. Bye bye. This is Ed signing off from San Diego, and that's Chase today in Utah.